The fall of the USSR was something that impacted not just the Soviet Union itself, but also the globe. The Soviet Union was once a great superpower in the 20th century, lasting from 1922 to 1991. It officially collapsed on December 26, 1991, resulting in the formation of 15 new states, and these states are Russia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. The collapse resulted in a lot of problems politically, economically, and socially, not just for the people that formerly lived in the Union itself, but also across Europe and other parts of the world. These issues still persist to present day, and especially in some countries, there's still that lack of proper leadership and underdevelopment. Tensions still exist, such as over territory and ethnic conflicts, but one of the things that really changed was the occupation of Eastern Germany by the Soviet Union and how the West felt about that. One of the last leaders of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, introduced reforms that allowed East Germany to reintegrate with West Germany, much to the surprise of the other world powers. Now, he didn't use military force either, and his reforms ultimately led to the fall of the Soviet Union as well, due to a number of factors. Some of these factors that led to the fall were making huge reforms and a complete overhaul of the Union instead of little and minor reforms that would slowly, incrementally help build it up again. There was the spending on military and not enough on infrastructure, as well as only trading and having an economy within the Soviet Union and not trading to other countries outside of it. Gorbachev's policies of perestroika and glasnost helped bring about German reunification. And that was another concerning factor for the Western powers because during World War II and World War I, Germany was a superpower, and they feared that this might be the same thing that happened again if Germany was reunited. Along with the fears of reunification, the German reunification documentary states that the Soviets were willing to let Germany reunify on almost no conditions at all, other than paying back some loans. And at this point, the Soviets and Gorbachev were still pretty influential, even though they were willing to let Germany reunify in peace and without any military intervention. The Soviets had a lot of power still, and they thought that working with Germany, West Germany, and the US was easier than working with France and Britain because of past tensions in history. There was lots of fear from the international community because they believed that if Germany was reunified, then they, meaning Germany, would become a hegemon in Europe and become a dominant force on the international level as well, reminding a lot of people of what had happened in the first half of the 20th century. Another thing that was scaring people was that Helmut Kohl, the Chancellor of Germany at the time, was making rapid developments and speeding up reunification rather than take it step by step. He wanted to reunify it as quickly as possible, but also the public had lots of demand for the reunification of Germany, especially after the fall of the Berlin Wall. It makes sense when one thinks about it that France and Britain would have obvious concern for the reunification of Germany. Two of the most outspoken critics of reunification were Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister of the UK at the time, and François Mitterrand, the leader of France. And Thatcher was really against it because of the obvious history between the UK and Germany in the past, and her own personal experiences with Germany during World War II. Now, France and Mitterrand had clear concerns as well, because they were fearful of that Germany becoming a new great power again, to dominate Europe again. And then it didn't help that Kohl presented his 10-point plan for reunification, according to the article by Aurelien Gerbault. And there was other numerous factors that played into it as well, because Kohl had not told anyone about the plan, and Mitterrand had met with Gorbachev, but that led to the Germans believing that the USSR and France wanted to decide what would happen to Germany rather than Germany deciding for itself, and that in that case would lead France to maintain its status as a great power. Mitterrand wanted to stop reunification, or at the very least slow it down, but after several meetings between France and Germany, they were able to come to a compromise. This compromise was that France was able to help Germany accelerate the reunification, but Germany had to get rid of the Deutschmark as its currency and adopt the euro. French President Mitterrand was not completely against German reunification, but he wasn't completely for it as well. He had his concerns, but he also had his ideas too. One of the things that he would not budge on was that Germany would have to switch to the euro and give up the Deutschmark if they wanted reunification, because he also wanted progress on European integration as well. And one of the ways that would be possible was having more countries switch over to a single currency. With the German reunification and the fall of the Soviet Union breaking up into 15 different countries, the question of borders comes up. Borders have always been an issue that has persisted since humanity has existed, essentially. But with the fall of the Soviet Union and German reunification, how important are borders anymore? And many of the issues that were covered in the video, some were discussed more in greater detail than others, but overall, these issues did not have consequences just within the limits of their respective states, but these issues also transgressed their national borders and were part of a larger international issue that many countries had to have worry and reason, as well as they had to work together to resolve these issues. Now, borders have existed for thousands of years due to natural claims and mankind always claiming those with territory and ethnicity. But these questions of borders and the issues that I mentioned, they transgress these borders, and because the world has become so globalized, that relates to how do these issues, what do they symbolize now? Because Germany reunifying became another big power. The fall of the Soviet Union created 15 different republics that are all within various stages of development, and that's completely changed so much for so many people. One of the things I would like to address before the video ends is that borders and identity have all been related and used by Putin on his war in Ukraine. The Russians have supposedly from Kiev, and that's why he is invading, because he wants to take back Ukraine and merge it into one giant state with Russia. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful, and